Hello and welcome to my film review of Creed. Now, like I said in my top 5 anticipated films of 2016, this film is a reboot in a sense of the Rocky franchise. It does obviously feature Rocky Balboa, set in Philadelphia, all the old landmarks of a Rocky film, but its prime focus is of Adonis Johnson and how he trains with Rocky Balboa for the big fight with Pretty Ricky Conlan, played by Tony Bellew, who's actually the EBU Cruiserweight champion at boxing. Now, positives about this film. I don't want to give too much away about the plot because I really want you to go out and see this for yourself if you do have the opportunity. The journey of Rocky Balboa training Adonis Johnson, I think, is the main emotion of the film, and it is really emotional. Similar to Star Wars, there's this warm nostalgia for the older characters, and I think that when you watch Rockies 1 to 5 and Rocky Balboa, it is still a little bit clunky in terms of how much character development there is, and it's definitely been changed and improved for a more modern audience. I think Ryan Coogler, who directed this, has done a really good job of sort of bringing the characters more to life so we can get behind them, rather than the film sort of being taken over by, you know, the cheesy montages, which I have no problem with, but I think for it to be turned into a modern film, it definitely had to be changed and improved. And I think that as part of the character development, definitely the relationship that Adonis has with Bianca, played by Tessa Thompson, who's a singer-songwriter, that definitely both develops their characters and you really get an emotional insight into the film. And also the music's quite modern as well, so that taking up the soundtrack definitely improved the entire aesthetic for me. Another thing that stood out for me was the dialogue. As I said before, no offense to the older Rocky films, but there's definitely a lot less clunk in this film. And I think that the characters are very modern, but I think Sylvester Stallone's taken on sort of as a advisor towards the characters, so he's overall given them a Rocky feel. There's like a really funny scene when before Adonis is going for his first fight and he just says, "I need to take a shit," and it's just so, I don't know why it's so funny, but it's the realism of being a fighter, of how nervous you would be before going out into the ring. That definitely shows that, and it's something, one of the parts, well, not just that line, but the dialogue is what I really enjoyed, because I think that to get an emotional insight into the character, you need to be able to relate to them. And I definitely did with Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson. Even Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone obviously, he's, you know, getting on the older gentleman side of things. And I think, you know, when you get to that time in your life, a lot of good things, good people have gone, and you've only got a few things left, and he definitely brings that emotion. And the journey isn't just about Adonis Johnson learning how to fight Pretty Ricky. It's also about Rocky sort of finding a fighter inside of him as well, and how they actually motivate each other. He says to him in a certain scene, I'm not going to give it away, but he says, "I taught you how to fight, but you taught me how to be a fighter again, and I'm forever grateful for that." That's probably not the actual line, but like, I had tears in my eyes because it just gets so emotional with his films, where there's like an underdog protagonist. Adonis Johnson has been, you know, in and out of foster care, and his mum, Marianne Creed, picks him up when he's a little bit older, so I think all he wants to do with his life is be a fighter, and that passion definitely comes across. If there were any negatives about this film, it would be with any sort of franchise like Star Wars, with all the older characters coming back, etc. You don't really feel that warm nostalgia towards Rocky Balboa if you don't really understand what's going on. You don't really feel for him emotionally because he's lost Adrian, etc., and he's getting older. Also with Adonis Johnson, or Adonis Creed as I should say, you definitely are not going to understand the sort of emotion of the fact that he's never known his father. Obviously Apollo Creed being killed in Rocky IV by Ivan Drago. That's definitely an emotional journey in that film in particular, and just sort of relive that nostalgia that even though he is doing it for himself, he does have that closure with his father, and that's not giving too much away about the plot. But definitely, if you've not seen the old films, then you'll be like, who are these characters? What are they referring to? It's not hard, it's not a film that's hard to understand, but Rockies 1 to 5, Rocky Balboa, go back and watch them before you watch this film. Very entertaining films to watch, and for me, anything with a protagonist in a fighting film is just, it's just a bit of an adrenaline rush really. So that, as far as negatives, that's as far as I can say really. Now I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, and I think that it is an art of bringing a franchise that's already had so many films and giving it a reboot that gives it a fresh new feel about it, because some films, they just seem to die down in quality as they go on, and I had that impression slightly with Rocky Balboa, but I think that Russell Coogler has definitely done really well on this one, and congrats to him for putting all that effort in. Now if you'd like to see more videos like this about film reviews, please subscribe, and also remember to hit the body and get them jabs in, alright? Gloves up!